Hey everybody, Paul here with ADV for Me. Thanks for checking in. In today's episode, we're going to talk about lighting. I've had questions about my lighting setup over the past couple of weeks, so I thought I'd dive in a little bit deeper and show you my lighting setup and the journey that got me to where I am today. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have some bright ideas to apply to your machine. Stay tuned. Unfortunately, I live in an area that doesn't afford me endless amounts of off-roading options, so a lot of my time riding is spent on the pavement. So when I think about lighting, I think about bears. People are like, what? What do you mean bears? Well, the experts say, if you encounter a bear in the wild, you want to make yourself look big and loud. And while loud pipes may save lives, we can talk about that in another video. But in terms of lighting, making yourself appear bigger is going to reduce the risk of being taken out by a 5,000-pound SUV. When you look at the stock profile of the lighting on the Tenere 700, or any bike really for that matter, it's very, very tight. By adding auxiliary lights and creating more of a lit area, you create a wider perspective for those traveling towards you. The chances of being seen are much greater this way than they are this way. So for me, it was super important that I spend the extra money. We're all familiar with that saying, buy once, cry once. And to spend a little bit of money, or extra money on safety items, to me is a no-brainer. There's a lot of things that we can get away with cheaping out on and buying maybe an inferior or less expensive parts. But when it comes to lighting, I think you should spend a little bit extra to ensure that you get the quality and the performance that one should look for when selecting a lighting product. So the first thing that I did with my T7 was more about the aesthetics, and I did get rid of the pumpkins. The pumpkins that were here, I mean, they were just these massive bulbous, size of an apple lights, and I went away with those and I got the Yamaha Spears. I'm calling them the Spears, the Yamaha lights, which really just clean out the front end a little bit. From there, I moved on and I purchased myself some Denali S4s, which I've been super happy with. These guys here initially were wired into my bike's high beam switch, which did take a little bit extra DIY wiring. I had to create a clean 12-volt power source in order for those to work properly, and an additional relay had to be added to the bike to make that all work. After a while riding with it, I liked it, but I didn't like the fact that I had only 50% or high beam. I wanted a little bit more control. So with that said, I ended up upgrading to the Denali dial dim, which was great because it allowed me the opportunity to add a second set of lights with the single controller. So this lighting controller here, super smart controller. I'm just gonna turn it on here. So right now the green would be my aux lights, and then the blue is my S4s. So I'm able to see very quickly at what light level they are at, and I can even just turn them off by just holding down and shutting it off. So right now my S4s are on, I can turn them up and down, I can turn the ambers on, and I can do the same thing, adjust them. It's amazing. Another great thing with this system is you have the opportunity to wire in other features like the horn. So when I flash the horn, all my lights flash. I'll give you an example of that now. Pretty sweet, right? I know. Another great thing too, when you're signaling, your corresponding main light shuts off, but your lower lights here, these are the DMs, they actually signal with your signal. So again, creating more awareness to your situation. So in addition to the dial dim and the S4s, and I really didn't talk too much about the DMs, my amber lights, I added these guys just before heading out to do the Madbury in July, and again, super pleased with the performance and output of these lights. I don't use them at night, but during the day it really again creates more presence and gives me a little more pop while I'm cruising down the road. Next thing I added was the T3 switchbacks. These are the signal pods. I do have these in the rear as well, which we'll get to in a minute. So again, when you talk about brightness and light levels, these here are so much brighter even than the LED Yamaha upgraded Spear lights. They're just so much brighter, and they are very durable. I've hit trees, I've hit branches, I've been down with this bike. I'd be embarrassed to actually say how many times I've dropped this bike. But they've held up great and I've had no problems with them. So from here, let's go around back and I'll show you what we got going on. So before I converted to the Huzar high mount exhaust, I had the OEM turn signals here, or the Yamaha Spears, and I had the switchbacks, the rear switchbacks, T3 switchbacks, mounted in here, which again, at nighttime, it just illuminated the whole back of the bike, which is awesome. But as soon as I upgraded to the high mount exhaust, this side here was blocked and was really of no purpose. So I decided I had a problem with my location of the light pods with them melting, so I got rid of them entirely and switched over to just the T3 switchbacks as my rear turn signals. These guys here are also mounted on the Denali license plate mount, and again, no problems, no issues. They held up great, and they are much brighter than the stock setup, so those are great. Moving on from there, Denali. What else have we got on here in terms of lighting upgrades? I can show you the light control, the Denali light control if you wish. I can show you this. So this here is the brain of the dial dim, and this here is what allows us to operate two sets of lights and do the incorporation into the horn and the aux lights with your turn signal. And while I'm talking about Denali, I want to give a shout out to Steve Abel over at A Bike Thing, because it's Steve's videos that got me on to Denali Electronics and all of their sweet products. So thank you so much, Steve. If you're not a subscriber of his, I would check him out, especially if you're a BMW guy. He does some great work on BMWs. So guys, my goal is to do weekly videos, and I'm new to this YouTube thing and I'm new to video editing, but I am enjoying myself, and it would be great if you could just take a moment, cue elevator music now, and hit that subscribe button. Thank you. I really appreciate the support, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.